Hello there everyone, welcome back to another video about the One Piece card game. To my patrons who are seeing this early, this is the source. This is a week's worth, and I mean like a week of like just all day in the lab of testing EB format. I've done a lot of testing for this format, and I don't think I have like a perfect understanding of the format. Obviously, like stuff can happen, but man, there's some shit cooking here. So let's go ahead and get into it. This is going to be my tier list video, and I've got a lot to say. But I think we're just gonna let's talk about the tiers firstly. So I've got a best deck and format tier. Let's just get that out of the way because no one's going to be surprised. It's Sakazuki. We'll talk more about that in a bit. Then we've got the main contenders tier, and this is the tier I'm going to order, and I'm going to put and I'm going to explain everything from main contenders like up in a lot of detail. Top cut possible. These are the decks so main contenders are the decks I expect to see winning every event. Top cut possible are the decks that I think you could take to a regionals. I think you could make top cut. I'd be very surprised if you made it further than like maybe top 16. Like if you had a top 32 top cut, you might these decks might get a serial once every now and then. I wouldn't expect them to regularly. Then they've got the locals tier, and these are good. They're fun, but I doubt they would do well at an event outside of like a god run. And then there's Lamau tier, which is just like don't bother. And we're just going to start off with the Lamau tier because that is as is going to be happening more and more the further we move through this game, the vast majority of decks in the game. So let's just slap all of these in Lamau tier. Well, okay. That's locals tier. That's a bit of spoiler. We'll talk about locals. All the Lamau tier decks. Let's just slap them in there. Lamau. Lamau tier. Lamau tier. Gosh, this is going to take a very long time. Lamau tier. Not Lamau tier. Lamau tier. It's another Lamau. Another. Well, sadly not actually. Another. All these starter decks have not aged well. This obviously isn't ordered, by the way. Another. Every single one of these starter decks is basically. That one's probably vaguely playable. Also vaguely playable. Okay, fine. So that's the Lamau tier. Yeah, these are all the decks that are basically like you just don't bother. They are power crept. They don't have support. Like. Let's talk about the best deck in the format first. Actually, no. I think we need to talk about the main contenders first because... Okay, well, we'll talk about Sakazuki. We all know this card is insane. This lead is insane. We know how good this deck is. We know that this requires a really good pilot. I personally really hate the stage build. I tested it, and I liked what it was doing in theory, and I understood why it existed, and I think it's particularly strong into the 06 meta. The 06.5 meta is significantly different. In particular, I think Katakuri, I'm just going to go ahead and say it now, like Katakuri previously was like here. It's definitely here now. Arguably even here, depending on what your meta share is. Like it genuinely might be down here. I'm going to put it in top cut possible because if I put Katakuri in like, locals tier, like people are going to just call me like an idiot without even thinking about it. But like, yeah, Katakuri massively falls off. And that's because certain other decks fall on. So that is a win for Sakazuki because like that matchup was actually like harder than the other yellow deck that was going to be in the format. On top of that, this deck gets like some really, really powerful support pieces. In particular, it gets a new 2k counter that is like actually relevant. It's pretty good, and it gets Brook. It gets the Pop Brook, and that card is really, really good in conjunction with Rebecca. It's also a very powerful curve play, in addition to that, with Katakuri falling out of the format, I think stage build falls out of the format. Personally, I think event build is way better. I think Ice Age and Great Eruption are way better than stage build. And I think when you factor all those in with this like addition of Brook, this new like this new technology that has arisen thanks to Brook, now you can do some really, really powerful stuff on curve, right? Where like you're able to do much more strong early game removal. Your curve is just so much better, right? Like your 6 don, for example, just give you an example. 6 don turn before, the best removal you used to have required you to sacrifice multiple cards from your hand. You usually would need to, best case scenario would be like play Rebecca, get out Hina, add something to hand, and then you hand plays. And that's how you were dealing with a 4 or potentially a 5 cost with a leader swing. But in order to take best advantage of that, you need another thing on board. So you can get rid of the 5 cost. But what you could do now on your 6-turn turn instead is like Hina, swing with leader, so you've reduced something by 5, and then Brook, so you can pop a 6 cost. So firstly, that is bigger than anything that's actually getting played. Secondly, it means you're not giving up your bot decks, which are huge, and you want to be using those at opportune moments, especially in the mirror match. And thirdly, you're establishing Brook, which is an insanely powerful body, not powerful, but an insanely relevant body, and a very threatening body, because it's just going to keep popping stuff. So yeah, I think some very, very important additions to the deck made here. But there we go. Let's talk about some local tier contenders and let's sort of just get them out of the way. Okay, well first, I'm gonna drop the source now. I think Enel's second best deck in the game. I don't even think it's close. I think Enel is exclusively gatekept by Sakazuki. If Sakazuki wasn't in the format, I think this would literally be a tier 0 Enel meta, and we need to find ways to counter Enel. This deck is so strong in this format. It is unreal. Genuinely, nothing beats this that isn't like RP lore cannot beat Enel. And I'm just going to put that up there because I think like this isn't going to be surprising. I'm just going to put what I could. I'm just going to do the top contenders now because I think I need to talk about them all in one go, and I don't want to be like I don't want to be like all mysterious about it. But we need like these 3 decks. Oh, and I guess BY Luffy as well. Right, that is. Yeah, I guess like I'll put it up there. This is the meta, right? Like main contenders be and Saka, and the reason Enel is so good is because lore. Moria and BY Luffy all actually like can't beat it. BY Luffy is Enel's worst matchup, but BY Luffy also like gets absolutely cooked by RP lore, gets absolutely cooked by Sakazuki, and so like and can like Moria like it destroys Moria, but like it's not even that advantageous into Enel. So like BY Luffy is absolutely the worst one on this list. Moria is like obviously very, very solid. It's a 5-life leader. Fundamentally, that makes it good. And it has a very, very good matchup into RP lore because you're able to very efficiently remove all of RP lore stuff as long as your Absaloms don't keep getting bot decked, right? Like that's basically the sticking point. But you are 5-life, you are able to keep up. So that can be a matchup that goes that can be fairly even. I think Moria loses to Sakazuki on average, but like, you know, what can you do? Everything loses to Sakazuki, that's why it's the best deck in the game, piloted by a good player. But Enel just sits there and is fucking toxic, right? Now, stay tuned, patrons, because this tier list is going up later on YouTube. But by the time, basically, I'm doing an in-depth guide for the Enel list that me and my mates have concocted in the lab. And I'm probably going to put it up shortly before my first opportunity to use it. And I'm really hoping it doesn't leak before then. Also, no one else stumbles onto the same list. No one else has cooked it. It's really strong. It's really, really strong. And it basically, like, the only deck it can lose to is Sakazuki, really, unless you brick, unless you, like, see nothing. Like, obviously, it still can happen, but, yeah, it just feels very, very impressive. And, yeah, this is a factor of why I like Zoro. It's possible to top cut, but however, if Enel's out there, Zoro's not doing anything, right? And everyone's talking about like Zoro and like we get Uta as well. Where's Uta? There. So these are like really powerful decks. Like Uta should be in main contender tier. The problem is like it just can't deal with Enel. Like it actually can't. Enel builds up like bigger stuff. It's constantly healing. It doesn't really respect the fact that you're like this version of Enel. Like because there was some like rush Enel that like was seeing some play in Japan, but like you're playing Karakuri here, so the 7-cost Luffys and all that sort of stuff are doing nothing. They're just getting sent into life, and the user player is just having a terrible time. Also, every single one of those is getting sent to life is making the Enel's Yamatos way better. So there's a whole host of factors that just make this like completely unplayable into an Enel format. Enel is insane. Enel is absolutely insane. And I think all best players should still be on Saka, right? So actually, this doesn't meaningfully change. Saka is still the best deck in the format, but if you aren't that good or you don't want to learn Saka, and it's a really hard deck to learn, and it requires you to be on like 24/7, just play Enel. This deck is crazy. There's going to be so many RP lores. Like everyone wants to play RP lore because it's the new hotness. It's really, really good. It's fun. It's easy-ish. I mean, it requires more thinking than like the average One Piece deck, but it doesn't require a massive amount. It's accessible. It's not too expensive. Like it's got a whole amount going for it because a lot of the cards are recent, so they haven't like had time to spike yet. Enel cooks it. Enel cooks it. So yeah, I don't know. Because Saka can lose to good RP lore players, right? Like that's 50-50 if you're equally skilled. So like yeah, like I don't know, man. Like I'm just flagging this. But yeah, and then obviously Zoro can't be it. Zoro can't be it. Yeah. So that's like I guess like slightly more in depth. We'll talk about some matchups. Saka into Enel, you just kind of do your normal game plan where you just remove all their stuff. and you need to kill them fairly quickly. You can't like hither and dither about it, because if the game goes to like turn 6, 7, 8, 9, you're not winning it. What you need to do is like you need to see either Borsa or Moria on curve. You need to like be flooding the board, and then once you've established a big thing, you need to go like Sabo, like play a 4-cost, play Sabo. You really want to be seeing a Kuzan on curve, because their only out to that is like Gadatsu. If they swing at you, take the swing, right? Like you have to do it, because otherwise they're going to be able to Gadatsu your thing. If they don't swing at you, play a Borsa on curve. That's going to be amazing. Or you could also be in a situation where you go, okay, cool, have the Gadatsu, right? Otherwise, you're good. Once you establish like that Sabo, you just need to go like kill them in the next 2 turns. You go like 2 hyper aggro turns, you rip the hand on the first one, the second one you kill them. You gotta hope they don't hit crazy triggers, and it's really close, but you win most of the time. It was a very consistent win for Saka, and even though each game like felt relatively close, like Saka won every time. So it wasn't like Saka was losing. Like yeah, they felt slightly close, but you keep winning. Saka into RP Law is really, really dicey. You need to mulligan for like really specific tools. You can't just like do your usual good shit. Your searches, I don't want to see them. I want to see stuff on the board. I want to see 5Ks, 6Ks. I want to just be playing body, 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 body. I do not want to be playing like searches, because I can't threaten lethal with searches. And I need to threaten lethal, because like otherwise I'm just going to get killed. I don't, like Sakazuki cannot like compete. If you're doing stuff, if you're trying to play like a normal Sakazuki game plan into RP Law, you're going to lose every time. Moria, you just get cooked. Like, I mean, unless the Moria player just goes like Moria, 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 like 3 turns in a row, and you don't see any, or you only see 1, you basically can't lose. BY Luffy, again, like, just don't deal them damage. You just don't attack them. You wait, you build up your board, and then like when they're at like 1 or 2 life, you can then just like push face, rip their whole hand down. They get 1 turn to do their thing. They're on 9k, cool. Board wipe them and go, okay, you've got like 3 cards in hand, go ahead, do it again, I kill you. So yeah, BY Luffy is a very, very easy matchup for Saka if you know what you're doing. And there we go. So that is why Saka's the best deck. Enel into RP Law. RP Law is going to keep swinging 5. Enel is going to keep healing. Enel is able to, basically, you starve RP Law. You do not attack them at all. So Enel just goes like, cool, I'm going to not attack you. My Gadatsu on curve is going to pop whatever 4 costs you've played. On my 7th on turn, I play like a Big Mom and I can heal, or I play like whatever you want, right? And then, or you play Enel, right? And you swing into one of their rested 5Ks and you clear it. You can even rip an extra card out of their hand if you swing into it with just your leader first. So you're just ripping cards out of their hand constantly, because they have to attack with their other stuff, because if they're only attacking with leader, you're just countering it, because it's what, 5, 6k? If they swing 7 with leader, they're probably only playing other one thing. So it's like, well, it's not a big deal. And then like once you hit 8, 9, 10 Don, like it's over, because you just go like, cool, I'm gonna go ahead, like you've put me to 1, I'm gonna Yamato, you're on 4 life, I'm popping your thing, I heal. Go ahead, do whatever you want. I can take 2 damage, and then I can counter the rest. And then you just go Yamato again, or you go Karakuri, stick whatever it's causing you like a stress into the life, right? You can a really cool combo is you go like on 10 Don, is you go, if you're on 2 life, is you go Flampe, draw, take top life, draw a card, and then play Yamato, heal, and then because you are obviously you're starving them, you pop their thing. You do not attack their face until they have like no cards left in hand and they are just not scary at all. And you've got like, and then you've got like, you know, 2, 3, 4 big things, and you just kill them in 2 turns because you know they can't kill you back. That is how you beat RP Law. For some reason, Moria and Enel is Moria just can't win. I expected Moria to be winning that matchup, and it just didn't, because Enel just plays like big thing, big thing, big thing, big thing. Like Moria needs to see like Ice Ages out the ass essentially and be like hyper aggressive. And if it does, you can lose. So that is a relatively close matchup. It's the closest like after Sakazuki. But yeah, and then BY Luffy is I guess like fairly close, but like again you can just starve them. You are so happy to just wait, right? Like you don't need to attack. You don't need to do anything. They're a slow deck, you're a slow deck. Every time, like the later you get into the game, the more you're just laughing, right? Like you are absolutely cooking them, because it's like, fine, go ahead. You can be 9k. I'm fine with that because I'm playing massive stuff, and then I'm just gonna chuck huge swings at you, and you can't do anything. So yeah, like I think it's definitely in the favour of Enel there. Remaining matchups, there's thing 3 then. RP Law into Moria is if Moria techs for RP Law cannot. It's RP Law loses. I'm not gonna spill that sauce. You got to discover it yourself, or check out my Patreon perhaps. But yeah, there is you got to make some modifications to the Moria lists to deal with RP Law. Otherwise, you get completely blown out. So it's a deck building test. RP Law into BY Luffy. I believe RP Law just goes too fast. From what I remember, it just goes way too fast. There's not really much BY you can do because, like, yeah, until you're like at 8 to 10 Don, like your big turn, it's actually really hard for you to like set up everything because you need 2 Don for your leader effect and you need 2 Don per baby. So you can't actually do a full thing until 6 Don, where you're then able to be at 9k. But like, it's so bad, it's so inconsistent. You might not have a blocker Sabo. It's just a bit awful. And then BY Luffy against Moria. BY Luffy should be winning that like 99% of the time. There's very little Moria can do, as long as the BY Luffy player is careful, like, and you know, it's just considerate about how they're doing it. You are, you know, Moria is gonna not able to hyper aggro you hard enough. So that's the top stuff. And that's probably all the intelligent discussion of this video, so if you want to click off, you can. But yeah, onto Top Cut Possible. This is just where I'm going to rank like all my remaining decks that I think are probably like being a little slept on, but potentially quite good. So I could see an army making it. Post EB, depending on the stuff Iceberg, like the matchups Iceberg sees, I can see Iceberg scraping a top cut. Yerple. This is the sleeper hit. This is the sleeper hit. Giga loses to Sakazuki, like absolutely cannot beat Sakazuki. And I think also just Giga loses to RP Law, and Giga loses to Anil. So it's losing to too much at the top. But this is like the best deck in Top Cut Possible. Like if you want to play off meta, play Yerple. It's really, really good. Reiju as well, I would say, is Top Cut Possible deck. For locals fun, we're going to throw all these recent leaders here. These are good fun. Yamato is absolutely a Top Cut Possible deck. This deck's actually pretty good. And it can be quite scary, the Fortress Yamato build. Perone is also like pretty decent. Bella Betty, locals. Hody Jones, locals. Arguably this is in Lamal tier, but I'll put it here. Queen, again, locals tier. Odin, Hanyabal, and Kyros are all locals tier. RG Law is probably the best locals tier deck. It's good, but it's just can't beat any of these. Any of the main contenders in BDF, it just can't beat. This is, yeah, basically all of these here are like locals tier decks that like, they get stuff, they're potentially playable, not Smoker, like they have things, but like there's no real reason to do it. Oh, and I guess Top Cut Possible, oh no, in 07. Rebecca is definitely locals tier though, I've gone undefeated at locals with it before. But there we go, that is the tier list for the EB meta. I've done a lot of testing for this. I seriously think like, I'm going to put you guys onto the correct analyst on my Patreon. So if you're seeing this on YouTube, this is going out like near the end of May on YouTube. So, or like mid or late May. My patrons have had this for like 2 weeks, and they will have the in-depth guide to Anil, which will be going up. So that's the in-depth guide. There's the spoiler. In-depth guide to Anil in an EB format. I'm going to talk about it very in-depth. I've done a lot of testing for it. It deck's really, really good. It's not as good as Sakazuki, but like I think I'd be very surprised if anyone takes like a proper analyst and doesn't go like X3 or X4 unless they have a very bad run. Like, it seems like it's just guaranteed to do that well. But there we go. That's it. Subscribe to the channel. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Check out the Patreon, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Cheers. And of course, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Cheers.